Well, today I'm back with another review, and I'm excited about this one. Ever since I heard they were going to be sending me this for review, got my interest peaked, and today it is the Beskarter Digital Night Vision Binoculars. It is the NV900 model, and as I said, I was interested in nothing better than being able to see at night. This takes it one step further, and you can actually take photos or videos at day and night right built into the binocular. I'm going to do a quick unboxing here, and then I'm going to take these binoculars out both day and night and test them and show you the footage that I got from them and the different uses that I think this could be very useful for. So as I said, they're digital night vision binoculars. They go from 4.5 to 22.5 by 40. I'll show you some of the specifications for the camera. And now for the unboxing. The binoculars come in a nice hard-sided case. Inside we have binoculars with lens caps, a manual, carrying strap, and cord to hook it to a TV for viewing. The binoculars have your menu and button selectors up top here. Seems very well built. Has a viewing screen here. Has a 1/4-20 tripod mount. Has a place for your batteries. On the side here, we have a micro SD, and it actually comes with a 32 gig, which is a nice surprise. It has a selector mode here for both video or photo. Has your TV out, and also a place to hook it USB to your computer. This is the first time I'm getting to see them, so I don't know what all these buttons are. We'll be getting into that later when we're in the field. It does appear to have your lens on one side with a focus ring, and then your IR illuminator on the other side. Well, as I said, I'm going to take this out in the field now. I'll take you along. I'll show you me using it, some of the different features it has. I'll show you sample photos and videos that I take with it. I'll use it both daytime and night. I'll then come back and give you my final thoughts on the Beskarter Digital Night Vision Binoculars NV900. Well, it's been a couple days since the unboxing, and I finally got time tonight to do some testing on the night vision binoculars. And we got plenty of sunlight here now, but I'm set up in an old box blind here, an old hunting blind. I actually have fields out here in front of me and have woods behind me. So we're going to test it some here in daylight. I imagine once I get quiet here, we'll have some animals come out. We'll be able to take some photos and videos of them, and then we're going to wait until dark and we're going to test it then also. I put some batteries in it, been reading the manual. I think I have things mostly figured out. I'll show you some things here as the night goes on the operation of this, and I'll be showing you some test footage that I'm able to get here tonight. Well, those deer were right on cue. As soon as I got quiet here for a little bit, they had came out into the clover field. And there was actually one a little bit closer to me, about 150 yards I would say. And there was one maybe 50 yards beyond that yet. So as you can tell, I'm using a tripod here, and I highly recommend using a tripod. And that isn't just for this Best Garter night vision binoculars, but anytime you're using optics and expecting to get video or taking photos, whether it be a camera, video camera, still camera, anything, a tripod's a must. So this is no exception. To get any type of quality footage at that distance, you're going to have a tripod just to steady yourself, or you're not going to be happy with the results. We'll keep watching here. I'm assuming we'll see something else either in the fields, or I'm hoping to get some footage down here in the woods and see how it does in that woods type of setting. And then ultimately, after dark here, we'll see if we can see anything in here in the fields and test the night vision. So. As you can see on that deer there, I was using the zoom feature, and it has a 4.5 power lens, optical lens by 40. That's 4.5 by 40, and then it has the ability to take it up to 20.5. But that anything you do beyond 4.5 is digitally zooming, and as you can see there, it gets very pixelated in a hurry. I'm not sure what it'll do at night. I'm suspicious it'll do the same thing, but that digital zoom is not optical zoom. It has an optical focus, but the digital zoom is what you get with this binoculars. Well, the sun is set, and we're definitely losing some light here quickly. My camera's having trouble focusing and losing light. That's where these should shine. We're going to turn on the IR and see what we can come up with. So the only deer that ended up coming out that night then was that one lone doe. And she was in the woods almost 80 yards away, and it was very thick with leaves and cover this time of year. She just stood there what seemed like forever. She knew something wasn't up and she wasn't coming any closer. The funny part was I did catch glimpses of her as she left, and she went by one of my trail cameras, and with this Best Garter night vision binoculars, it actually picked up the IR of the trail camera when it went off. I found that pretty interesting. Wildlife sightings or scouting is by far not the only thing these night vision binoculars are good for. I found them useful around the farm here for surveillance. At night, sometimes if you hear something, you're not quite sure what's going on, you want a low-key approach without throwing on a bunch of lights. Using these night vision binoculars with the IR is almost invisible, and you get a good look at the surroundings. Another useful thing for these would be keeping an eye on your pets at night. If they're outside, you can see exactly what they're doing, where they're at. In this case, my dog's pretty lazy and just lays around a lot. I also found these useful here on the farm with all my livestock. I have a bunch of cattle out on fences, and here you can see the cows out. You can see whether they're inside the fence or out, and you can actually count the number of cows in your herd to make sure they're all there. This cow was about 80 yards away. Now the whole herd of cows here is almost 200 yards away. As you can see, the footage gets kind of grainy at that distance, but you have no problem seeing exactly what's going on and how many cows there are. I've also used these night vision binoculars inside the house, turned all the lights off just to see how it would react inside the building. Here's a flower vase on my kitchen table, and the video turned out great. I've actually focused on objects as close as 5 feet away, and it seems to do a great job. Well, as you can tell, I think I just touched the surface on how many different things these things could be used for. Quite a useful tool for many different options. I wanted to touch quickly on some of the buttons here as I've learned to use this. I'm going to show you the buttons on top of the camera here and what each of them are for. So here you have the power button. You can simply push that and it powers up. On your display screen you'll see it say Best Garter. Next we have the menu button, and it's marked with an M there. That'll give you all your menu settings. You can go in there and select and set it up exactly how you want to. Next we have an OK or an Enter button. As you're going through the settings, you can hit that to OK your selection. Here's your record button, REC. That's how you either take a picture or start a video recording. Next we have the plus and minus buttons over on this side, and that is for your digital zoom. And whether you're taking video or photos or even just looking at it, you don't have to be taking a video or photos. That'll digitally zoom your object and bring it in a little bit closer. Now be warned, as I had said earlier, that will pixelate quite a bit. Next we have your IR, and your IR has 3 different brightnesses. You have setting 1, 2, or 3, and each one just gets progressively brighter. So if you're shooting at quite a distance, you obviously want it on the brightest setting. Maybe indoors or something a lot closer to you, you could put it down on the lowest setting. Next we have a brightness button. I wasn't sure what that meant with your 3 different brightnesses on your IR, but this, after reading the manual, I found out actually changes your shutter speed of your processor. So you have 3 different settings on that also. That is changing your shutter speed to make the picture appear brighter by giving more light to come into your processor. Now into the side panel. Here's where you select whether it's a video or photo. You can slide that slider to the appropriate one, and then when you hit the record button, it's going to take corresponding to whether you have that set on photo or video. Next you have your USB hookup there, and also your TV out would plug into that. Lastly, over here is your micro SD slot. Well, I think as you could tell, I really enjoyed using these night vision binoculars, and I tested them for quite an extensive period of time. It's now time for my final thoughts. I'm going to start out with a couple cons, and they're not major, but I want to share them with you. And one would just be its sheer size. It's not something you're going to be tucking away in your pocket and forgetting about. You're going to have to make a conscious effort to take these along just because of their size. They fit in one hand, but they are a handful, and it's something that got a little bit of weight to it also. The second thing that I would note as a con would be the display screen. It works fine, but in the literature, and I think even on the packaging, it would let you to believe that this whole thing is an LCD screen that you're going to be able to see. And that's just not the case. The actual screen you're looking at is quite a ways inside of this, and this is just a protective glass. You have no trouble seeing it, and I found myself not actually holding these up to my eye at any given time. You can hold them quite a distance away and easily see that screen, but it's just not this full size that the literature would let you to believe. Now on to the positive things. I found these to work exactly as described, and actually maybe even a little bit better. I had no trouble illuminating things up to 300-400 yards away without a problem. And in fact, there's a mountain range a little over half a mile from my place, and I had no trouble in the middle of the night being able to pick out the mountain with this IR. So I think it has a pretty strong IR, and it works exactly as described. Also, I like its price point. If you start looking at any type of night vision, you can easily spend 2 to 3 times the amount of what these are. With these working exactly as described, I think it's a great entry-level way to get into night vision. Another thing would be, what's better than to be able to see in the middle of the night is to be able to take pictures and video at the middle of the night. With just a simple click of a button, you can either be taking photos or video at night of exactly what you're seeing, and I think that's a neat feature. I also am glad that it includes the micro SD card. Not many things you buy these days include the storage, and it's a 32 gig micro SD card that was included with these night vision binoculars. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to watch till the end. As I said, I'm going to be putting more information in a link down in the description, so feel free to check that out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.